Let me see what's going on. Let me see what's going on. Let me see what's going on. What's going on? Check, check, check. What's going on? Check, check, check. What's going on, y'all? This is Marcus Rosa, a.k.a. Mazuma TV. Back at y'all with some more boxing talk, man. I hope everybody's having a blessed, beautiful, positive, productive night. I hope y'all had a great day overall, man. We got some things that we currently need to discuss that's going on in the boxing world, man. But before we get into that, please hit the like button. As soon as y'all come in, that'll be very much appreciated. We're going to talk about Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez's heated press conference that just unfolded earlier today. We're going to talk about Deontay Wilder in regards to his fight week being on the way. And then, of course, we're going to get into some open boxing topics. You feel what I'm saying? We're going to be talking about Jon Jones and exactly what his next plans may very well be. We're going to talk about a little bit of everything, man. You feel what I mean? So shout out to everybody that's in the building so far. Go ahead, hit the likes. We already got people in the comments, man. And, I already done spoke about this, but, shout out to everybody that's been coming through and showing love with the channel. We have officially hit that 3K mark, man. And like I said, we on to the next one, man. Now we on the road to 4K. And I don't have anybody else but to thank but y'all for the consistent love and support, man. Thank you guys very, very much, man. That's a hell of an accolade for me. I remember when I hit 1K not too long ago, man. You know what I mean? And that was just a huge, accomplishment. You know what I mean? Then when I hit 2K, I was like, all right, we actually going somewhere. You know what I mean? And 2K was probably like the toughest mark to get through in all honesty because, I had gotten sick and stuff like that. But, we at 3K now. So, you know what I mean? We just going to keep the ball rolling. Hopefully the 3Ks is good to me. Just like all the other ones were. You feel what I'm saying? Shout out to the boy Marlon2631. He said, what's up, Mark? What's going on, brother? I hope everything's well with you and yours, man. Shout out to the boy Marlon2631. Forgot Petit, what up? He said, Bud for the W, man. That's what a lot of people saying, man. You know what I mean? That's what a lot of people saying. They looked at that William Scar performance from Canelo, and they think Canelo fooled. They think he old. They think he slowed down. You know what I'm saying? But, Terence Crawford doesn't believe that. He actually believes that he didn't really get up or wasn't really motivated for the William Skull fight, and that's why he had the performance he had. He's assuming that Canelo Alvarez is going to be, motivated for him, and he's going to get the best version of Canelo Alvarez. You see what I'm saying? So Terence Crawford has the right mentality. You know what I mean? He's not coming into this fight thinking that Canelo's old, slow, or washed up. You know what I'm saying? He's assuming that Canelo's going to be on his best game, so that's a great mentality to have on Terence Crawford's part because as long as he has that mentality, he'll prepare properly to prevent a poor performance. You see what I'm saying? Shout out to the boy, Abhai Gaming. What up? Coffee Plant said OKC really won. Oh, they did? Oh, okay. Shit. Shout out to the Oklahoma City Thunder, man, for winning that finals. I did see that Holly Burton had, sustained the injury. A lot of people, I don't know what they were saying, but I swear somebody said like a strain or something like that. But apparently, it's an Achilles tear from what I understand. Regardless of the situation, man, I wish Holly Burton has a successful recovery. I hope he comes back, stronger so he can continue to do his thing over at Indiana. You feel what I'm saying? I wasn't able to watch the finals, unfortunately. I just been so locked in on boxing that I haven't really been connected to basketball. And anybody that knows me personally knows that since I was, a teenager, basketball was my second favorite sport. You feel what I'm saying? So shout out. Shout out to the boy Cover Play. He said that shirt is cold. This is actually a shirt I had got from one of our professional fighters by the name of John Carlos Rivera, man, former sparring partner of Jon Jones and stuff like that. He currently trains with us. And yeah, this is a fire-ass shirt, but I ain't even gonna lie to you. And I seen it. I got so many clothes, bro. I got so much clothes. I got so many shirts. Yo, bro, I donate clothes like regularly, and I still feel like I got way too much. You feel what I mean? I was looking through the drawer and I seen this shirt, and I think I only wore it once. So I was like, you know what? Let me wear this shit. I actually fuck with it. You feel what I'm saying? OG Rugrat 420, what up? What's going on? What's going on? How everybody feeling, man? How everybody feeling? Man, that Canelo and Terence Crawford press conference got a little heated, didn't it? Yeah, Yeah, I think that Terence Crawford has successfully picked up the villain role, man. I think that he's finally, come around to, take that role. And that's a lot of role. That's a role that a lot of people seem to embrace. There's others that, try to steer away from that. For example, Floyd loved playing the villain role. You see what I'm saying? He didn't mind it when he was in the UK, throwing his middle fingers up at Ricky Hatton and his fans. You know what I'm saying? Shakur Stevenson, he adopts that title regularly. Devin Haney, they was booing him and he was going like this. Bernard Hopkins. There's a lot of fighters who had no problem picking up that villain role. Then you got other fighters that, that choose to stay away from that and, just, stick to themselves like Andre Ward, Jaron Ennis. And I'm sure there's plenty of other fighters who, just be on their chill shit. You feel what I'm saying? But seems like Terence Crawford has officially taken on that role and really not care. I don't know where this press. I think where was this press conference at, yo? Does anybody know? Was this in New York or LA? Was this the East or the West Coast? I'm thinking it's the West Coast because it sounded like there was a lot of Mexicans in the building. Where was they at? Can somebody confirm? Hey, Coffee playing, beat me to it. Can somebody confirm where was that? New York? Damn, it sounded like there was a lot of Mexicans in there, bro. First of all, that press conference was lit, man. Shout out to them for coming back with this press conference that had Dana White in the building. I love the one thing I've always liked about Dana White is how the way he conducted his press conferences. He don't be having no promoters with this long, drawn out, speeches and statements, and people just sitting there bored as a motherfucker. Dana White got straight to the shit. He was like, "Hey, what's going on, y'all? I hope everybody did well, man. Let's get to the questions." And he had the people interacting with them almost immediately. You feel what I'm saying? Not no long, drawn out talking and all this bullshit, man. These other promoters, they can actually learn from Dana White in that sense. Dana White got some fucked up things that he got going on that I don't really seem to agree with at times. But, that right there, he definitely knows how to get a press conference popping. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he came in and immediately said, "Who got the first question?" And all honesty, Coffee Plant, that's how it should be. Just my personal opinion. We don't want to hear the promoters talk. We don't want to hear nobody's manager talk. On some real shit, we don't even want to hear the coaches talk. And I'm a coach. I don't think anybody cares to really hear what I gotta say. That's not my job. You feel what I mean? My job is, the trainer's job is to get the fighters ready. The promoters, their job is to put the money up and, set up, situations where people get to know about their fight, aka promoting. Managers, they're supposed to be the ones negotiating deals for their fighters. Nobody wants to hear them talk. They're not the attraction. They're not the reason why the people are there. Let the fighters talk. Let them do what they gotta do. Whether they want to be conservative or not, that's on them. And then you can just follow through with the face off or whatever the case is. You feel what I'm saying? So I actually like the fact that it went about that way. And Terence Crawford, I don't know what it was that was really getting him to tap into that, that villain role. I'm gonna call it a villain role because Terence Crawford be chilling, he be falling back. You know what I mean? He don't really say too much. But I'm calling it a villain role because he looked like he was getting energized from the fans. You know what I mean? This nigga said Marty's hairline. That's crazy. Thoughts on Jon Jones' retirement? I mean, listen. I always say this, and I'm gonna get back to the press conference after this because I see a lot of people talking about the Jon Jones situation. We got some people over here that feel like that was the worst way to end his career because he avoided Tom Aspinall and shit like that. But listen, I'm gonna say this: if you are like at the top of the game and you're no longer motivated to prove yourself or face the best competition or give the young dudes an opportunity, you should walk away. I would rather see Jon Jones walk away rather than seeing him cherry pick guys and be in the ring with guys that be in the octagon with guys that he shouldn't even be in there with and giving people to run around. Go ahead. If you're no longer motivated from the sport, you feel like you accomplished everything you needed to accomplish, then you go ahead and walk away. You feel what I'm saying? It's really that simple. So congratulations to Jon Jones. I think he's the greatest mixed martial artist to ever live. The resume don't lie, the accolades don't lie. What was that? 17 world title fights he won. He beat guys like Shogun Rua, I believe that's how you pronounce his last name. Lyoto Machida, Rashad Evans. You talking about Chael Sonnen, Vitor Belfort, Alexander Gustafsson, what was that? Thiago Silva, bro. He's beat Rampage Jackson. The list goes on and on, and I'm sure there's plenty of people that I missed out. You know, like Jon Jones' resume is really that steep. He cleaned out the 205 division, bro, effortlessly. You feel what I mean? So, um, that's just my take on it. I'm not really an MMA enthusiast, but I did follow Jon Jones. He was one of very few people that I like to watch. And he's a two-division world champion, first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the greatest to ever. Daniel Cormier. Yep, that's another one. How could I have forgotten about that? Beat him, a couple times already. You feel what I'm saying? So I think he's the greatest. You know what I mean? If we talking about the greatest of all time, we talking Jon Jones, we talking George St. Pierre, we talking about Anderson Silva, in my opinion, Demetrius Johnson. The list goes on. Daniel Cormier might be on that list as well, considering what he's accomplished. Um, and then after that, you get into like the greatest fighters in the division's history. Like they say, Kamaru Usman is one of the greatest. What's he considered? What's he considered? A middleweight, welterweight? Not even sure, man. You feel what I mean? But cause I get boxing weight classes and MMA weight classes mixed up. So, Smoochie, what up? What's going on? He said, "How's my smashes DDP?" I can't really speak on that. That now that's out of my realm, my brother. So you might be on to something. You might be right. The only L he took was the USADA. I looked into their situation, and they said that with the levels that they had caught in his system, it literally wasn't enough to really have an effect. But then again, there is masking agents, like Ryan Garcia participated in and stuff like that. So when you had those allegations against you, it is unfortunate. But look, like Anderson Silva pop. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, man. I just know that if we talking about, and look, y'all can't really hold that USADA shit against him, because y'all be talking about how Canelo Alvarez is the greatest Mexican of all time, and he done pop positive for PED. So, like, if we're gonna be, shitting on people because of, popping, like, and I hold motherfuckers consistent. You feel what I'm saying? Like on the boxing side, I don't really know the MMA side and what they protocols are on PEDs and shit like that. I just know in boxing, I hold motherfuckers accountable for being drug cheats. I'm one of very few people that constantly remind people that fighters are drug cheats. You feel me? So, y'all still call Canelo Alvarez the greatest Mexican that ever boxed, and this man done tested positive, and 5 other people in his camp had tested positive as well. And I don't never hear nothing. So, what I mean? We just gotta be a little consistent with our points. You feel what I mean? But let's hit the like button, man. It's 20 people in the building, only got 9 likes. Let's get 20 likes. You feel what I'm saying? Let's go back to the press conference now after getting into a little bit of MMA talk, shall we? Like I was saying, man, I genuinely feel like Terence Crawford has, I don't know what it was. I don't know. The crowd was definitely talking crazy. I seen the way that they was talking to Bill Haney and stuff like that, man. And they was fired up, being very disrespectful. Very disrespectful. Like when people talking to fighters and coaches and shit like that, in a disrespectful manner, they don't deserve to be at the event. To be honest with you, man, I'm hearing people call Bill Haney all types of bitch ass niggas, and they didn't even sound like they was black, saying bitch ass niggas and fucking, oh, your son got knocked the fuck out, which he didn't, but they were saying that, and fuck you, Bill Haney, and all this shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you don't like somebody, you know what I mean? That's totally fine. But that disrespect was absolutely insane, in my opinion. So I'm sure Terence Crawford done heard a little bit of hate in the crowd, and that charged him up and got him to talk crazy to Canelo. You feel what I mean? Said the only thing he was going to be running is his hands up Canelo Alvarez's head, and Canelo got a big ass head, and saying that he going to take them belts up off of Canelo and stuff like that. So it's good, genuine talk. But what I noticed with Terence Crawford is this dude is the absolute definition of like a competitor / alpha male. You see what I mean? And I know that Canelo Alvarez walked away from that conference like, damn, that was a little bit of a different experience, because what Canelo Alvarez is accustomed to, let me actually bring this a little bit closer. What Canelo Alvarez is accustomed to is people being respectful to him and basically kissing his ass, you know what I mean, being shook, being starstruck, and things of that nature. And Terence Crawford, has been being respectful, but Terence Crawford is always respectful. So he's literally keeping his energy the same with each and every opponent he got. It's when you cross the line, that's when you pretty much motivate him to say some shit back, or stir the pot up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? They had some little words back and forth. Canelo Alvarez was saying that Turkey should make the ring smaller so Terence Crawford don't run, and things like that. And what really stood out more than anything was the face off between the two. You know what I mean? These guys had faced off, and Terence Crawford was walking right up on him, and as he was getting face to face with him, he was actually pushing Canelo back. Canelo wasn't feeling that. He didn't like how Terence Crawford was violating his space, and as a result, he pushed him. Terence Crawford didn't like that at all. The security was trying to hold him back. He was moving the security out the way effortlessly. We seeing Bomac doing some offensive, some defensive line shit, pushing them motherfuckers back. You know what I mean? It was getting a little physical in there, or whatever the case is, but they was able to get it settled down. They faced off once again. They exchanged some words and they went about their way. So, yeah, man, that was a good little press conference to get the people intrigued a little bit. I don't know if they're doing another press conference or anything of that nature, but so far so good with the promotion. You know what I'm saying? Considering the guys, neither one of them are really trash talkers. Canelo got back for Hank Lundy. That's fucking hilarious. This is for Hank Lundy. Wait, that was a British one. That was a British accent. That's how you know I'll be fucking with these UK motherfuckers too much. No, fucking you, motherfucker. No, fucking you. Shout out to the boy, Winston Sanders. Go get the money. What up? Shout out to West Sider. Go get the money. Says it's crazy how we haven't seen a video of Canelo being tested yet. Ooh, I've never seen that neither. Brother Claymore Rain, what up? What's going on? What's going on? Shout out to West Side the 23 says salute Mazuma. Canelo is used to getting his ass kissed, but built different and coming for the crown. That was what I was referring to. Shout out to, like, these motherfuckers be on their best behavior whenever they fighting Canelo, and if they talking trash to Canelo, it's really like on some forced shit. Like, you just see Canelo. I mean, Bud doesn't really look at Canelo as a superior. The mentality's totally different. You know what I'm saying? And he genuinely believes that he could win the fight. You could tell in his demeanor, you could tell in his body language, he feel like he's the big dog in this situation. And I'm sure that's something that Canelo Alvarez is not accustomed to thus far in his career. You see what I'm saying? So that's just something that I noticed. Marky Dan, the historian, what up? Asia 86, what's going on? What's going on? Coffee Plant said they forgot Bud can flip that switch. Absolutely. Absolutely. He definitely could flip the switch. You know what I'm saying? He could be, respectful, reserved, and things of that nature. But, once he gets in that zone, then, you know what I mean? He gonna let you know what he believes and how you can't fuck with him. That's just the type of time that he's been on. Did I see that OKC just won the chip? Now, I literally was just told that in the chat. This is crazy. Shout out to Coffee Plant for keeping the wrenches sharp out here, at least, motherfucker, bro. Nah, like I said, I just seen in the chat. I was not tuned in. I wasn't tuned into the playoffs at all. This is like the first year where I haven't been really engaged in the NBA playoffs. Like I said, I'm just so locked in on boxing with, being a content creator for boxing, watching fights, boxing, coaching fighters, boxing, managing fighters. Well, not necessarily managing fighters, but, taking care of, one-on-one trainings and things like that. Life has just been all about boxing, and of course, being a father, you know what I mean, turning the TV off and just doing a little educational stuff with my son, and doing a lot of bonding time with my son. You feel what I mean? So I haven't really had time, and then that's not even including like the other job that I have. You know what I mean? That I use as a side quest. You know what I mean? Another form of revenue. You know what I mean? So it's been tough to keep up with basketball. But shout out to OKC for winning, man. Shit, I remember when they had the opportunity, when Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Russell Westbrook was on the same team, and they went up against, the Heat, and they came up short because I honestly feel like they fell victim to just being young and inexperienced. But OKC was able to get back in the finals and make up for that lost time. You know what I mean? Like the Philadelphia Eagles. We had played not too long ago against Kansas City Chiefs, and we had lost by a small margin. Then we was able to come back in the mix, face the same team, and absolutely obliterate them. You know what I'm saying? So it's always good to learn from your mistakes. Them same players wasn't around, but the organization in itself, they was able to learn from their mistakes and come back and get a chip. So that's dope. You know what I mean? Got somebody by the name of John Cena. Oh shit. Mark was an NBA analyst. No, definitely wasn't an NBA analyst, but I definitely watched the NBA. That was my second favorite sport, bro. Like in high school, I loved the basketball. From like eighth grade, I'm gonna say from like 14 to like 21, 22, I was on basketball heavy. Yeah, man. Oh yeah, yeah. Congratulations. Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that, Claymore. Appreciate that very much, brother. You know what I mean? We working. You'll be there soon. You know what I mean? You got everything to take it to places that I'm not even at yet. So shout out to the boy Claymore Rain. Um, yeah, I seen Max Kellerman back in the mix, man. So I seen a picture that Turkey Al-Sheik had posted up where it was Jim Lampley and Max Kellerman. Um, he said Prime Shy or Prime Harden. Prime Harden. But then, Prime Harden always had trouble winning, like being a part of a winning team and just winning overall. Shy got a fucking chip, so I guess it depends. If you talking about like skill set, like abilities, I probably go with Prime Harden. But Prime Shy, obviously he know how to fucking win. So I don't know. It depends on what you prioritize. But yeah, I seen Turkey Al-Sheik had posted a picture of Jim Lampley and Max Kellerman. He put like the shrug emoji and shit like that. That's one of like Turkey's emojis and shit. Whenever I don't know what he uses it for, but um, you know what I mean. But Max Kellerman back in the mix. That's exactly where he needs to be. He don't need to be on no first take on ESPN talking about no basketball. He don't need to be talking about no football. He don't need to be sitting down in any room with Stephen A. Smith or none of that shit. You feel what I'm saying? So yeah. Houdin. What you mean Houdin? Dana? Is that what you meant? I don't know who Dean is. Dana? I don't know who Dean is, brother. Unless he's somebody I know that I don't really talk to or something like that. He gonna have to elaborate on who Dean is. L Dub, what up? Rogers the second. I might know him. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I might know him in person. I don't know. I actually know a kid at the gym by the name of Dean, but I don't know if that's him. Who you got? Frank Martin versus Francis Bartholomew at 140. Frank Martin. I think Frank Martin explosiveness, his speed, his aggression. I think that's going. I think that's going. I think that's going to get him the win. Oh, okay, yeah, you from the gym, brother. What's going on, Dean? Shout out to you for coming through and showing love. Hold on. I got too many comments right now. It said, look at Super Go Getters comment. Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, that's who I was talking to. Yeah, I had to think real quick who Dean was. I haven't really been speaking to Dean lately, but salute to Dean. But I think Frank Martin will defeat Francis Bartholomew. Okay, L Dub. So you tuned in. You know what's going on behind the scenes. You said stay tuned for the official announcement. Shout out to L Dub if he gave us some early info. That's dope. He said that Canelo push was zesty as hell. It definitely ain't had no steam on it. I seen Canelo push niggas harder than that. That wasn't like the Caleb Plant push. Oh no, fucking you. No, you motherfucker. No, fucking you. Oh, dog, watching that Charleston card. Hold up. Ain't Charleston White supposed to be rumbling? Oh, ain't Charleston White supposed to be boxing one of the Island Boys or some shit like that? Bro, I was cracking the fuck up at that press conference, bro. Aiden Ross had put a press conference together where Charleston White was boxing the motherfucking the Island Boy and the rapper that fake rapper, the super high five. He like, but I'm not a rapper. He got that nigga boxing too. Oh my god, bro. Bro, hold on. Yo, Aiden Ross just be having anybody boxing. Aiden Ross got hit me up. I would love to box on there, especially if he paying niggas. Give me a reason to get back in my bag. Oh shit, who getting punched on? Oh, they just be having anybody boxing and they ain't got no headgear on or nothing. All right, I'm gonna stay in tune with that one. Charleston White better fuck that other boy up, bro. Ain't no way. I know he was boxing for a little bit. He actually followed me on social media when I told him I'd train him, but he ain't never get with me. No, but listen, I had Claymore Rain ask me a question, so I wanted to approach that real quick, man. I definitely saw the question. And Claymore Rain says, Dana, good for boxing or toxic? What you say, Mazuma? I think Dana could be good and he could be bad for boxing, just like a lot of these promoters. And I say this all the time. I say this all the time. These promoters, they all got their pros and their cons. For every good thing that you could make a point about a promoter, you could say the bad things that come with them as a promoter. You feel what I mean? Whether it's Al Heyman, Eddie Hearn, Top Rank, they all got their pros, they all got their cons. The thing with Dana White is, but now that he has the funds necessary to take part in boxing, he's gonna be making some big fights happen. You see what I'm saying? And Dana White, he's good for things that these promoters can learn from. Like I said, with the press conferences, he gets straight to the questions. He ain't no bullshit, ain't no filler with him. You know what I mean? He pays attention to an extent on what fans want, and he tries to deliver to the best of his ability. So we don't ever gotta worry about Dana White cutting corners in terms of, providing the best fights possible. We know that now that he has the funds available, he's gonna get some work done for sure. The bad things that come with him, is he likes to keep his fighters hungry. And that's something that a lot of promoters don't want to admit, but they take part in as well. I remember Canelo Alvarez, I did an interview with the Breakfast Club, and he brought up a quote from Oscar De La Hoya. I think it was for the Jaime Munguia fight. He says, you feed these fighters crumbs so they stay hungry. You know what I'm saying? So what Oscar De La, he said it in Spanish. So pretty much, you know what I mean? You want to keep paying these fighters the smallest checks possible so that they remain hungry and continue wanting to fight. Because, when you give these fighters too much money, they feel like they don't gotta, they lose motivation. They feel like they ain't gotta perform well and things like that. You feel what I mean? Dana White takes part in that, in my opinion. I think he underpays fighters, and I think that he takes the majority of the profit when he's not the reason why people tune in to watch the fights. I think he undermines a lot of fighters, and these fighters don't know no better. So, they just follow with it because the UFC is the biggest MMA, company franchise in the world. You know what I'm saying? So they just feel like that's where they need to go in order to, be successful. Francis Ngannou left and went on to get a deal where shit against Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua alone, I'm sure he's made more money than he's ever made in his UFC career. But a lot of people not intelligent or daring enough like Francis Ngannou to take them chances. Another thing that I seen, this is actually a great point, but guy, I was actually going to bring this up in a little bit, but since you brought it up, he said, I like the bonus for the KO shit. Not gonna lie. I think that that's a very smart alternative to not necessarily avoid fighters from, not being exciting, but, it gives them that extra motivation to put on a great performance or actually kick shit up a notch in terms of, bringing that intensity, that aggressiveness, that pressure. You feel what I mean? Some people need you to put something in front of them in order for them to, change their ways. There's some people that self-motivated, and there's people who need a couple dollars in order to be motivated. So I think that that's a smart choice. And they said that this KO bonus is an absolutely insane number. Dana White had, his quote was it was well above six figures. So if he's saying that, then that's life changing money right there. They're already getting a stupid purse as it is. 7, 8, maybe fucking 9 figures at the end of the day, especially on Canelo Alvarez's part. So if you would have thrown an extra, a couple extra million or a few more 100,000 or whatever the case is, that's a good look too. So that's a smart move. You know what I mean? If you want to get paid more, you got to do more. You know what I mean? You might have to, sit down on the punches a little bit more if you want to come home with an extra 5, 6, $700,000, added to your check and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Coffee Plant says, well above six figures, but can't do it for your own company. Coffee Plant's referring to Dana White. And I'm going to just say this. It's not Dana White's money that he's giving out, so it's a totally different situation. The UFC is his company. You know what I mean? I'm sure he makes. I think they evaluated the company to be worth well over $1 billion. But the thing is, I don't think Dana White got, 6, 7 figures to just be throwing out there if a motherfucker get a good knockout. You know what I mean? He might be able to do like 50, 60K, 100K, maybe even 100K. I think that's a little bit out of Dana's, budget. But, with Zuffa Boxing or whatever the fuck he wants to call it, or with Turkey Al-Sheikh backing him financially, he could put whatever price tag he wants. And, Turkey going to cut the check because, he has those type of funds, available to, put out there. You feel what I'm saying? So yeah, um, well above six figures for Turkey Al-Sheikh back in a boxing event, yeah. But for him to do it himself, no, he ain't got Turkey Al-Sheikh money. You said, Mark, he's a billionaire. You referring to Dana White? Well, Dana White not about to use his personal expenses to cut motherfuckers a check. He gonna give money that's being generated off of the event. You know what I mean? He gonna give him money that's from the company. And from what I see, Dana White's his net worth is 500 million, and which is still a shit ton of money. Let's not get it fucked up. You know what I mean? 500 million, shit, you halfway there. Yeah, these niggas super weird. Niggas is super weird. I'm not saying it had to be personal expenses. What I'm saying is, you saying that he worth $1 billion. So if you saying the nigga a billionaire, you talking about what he's worth as an individual. What I'm saying is, he's not going to take the money that he's worth as an individual and pay fighters from that. If he's going to be giving fighters any type of bread, it's going to be from the money that's being generated from the event. But like I said, Dana White has always been the type of guy who's underpaid his fighters. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. That's been one of the biggest criticisms of Dana White, and he doesn't feel like he needs to change it because look how successful his company has been as a result. Look at how successful his company's been as a result of undercutting fighters. And these fighters ain't doing nothing about it, so he feel like he ain't got to do anything to change it. All I know is I remember when he came with Zuffa Boxing initially to try to make a boxing promotional company, he seen that they wasn't with that shit that he was on, so he walked away. But now that he's getting, funded by Turkey Al-Sheikh in order to do these events, now he's, found his way back into boxing. You know what I mean? So I think he understands that these fighters are you know more aware of their worth in comparison to MMA fighters, and he has to pay them accordingly. But regardless, it was a good press conference. It was definitely a good press conference. It was better than the last one. I listened to the little interview that they had where they were sitting next to each other and was doing what's his name, like Piers Morgan or some shit like that. Piers Morgan. And he was trying to get these guys to open up a little bit. Terence Crawford wasn't really with all that shit. Canelo Alvarez wasn't either. He was asking a lot of personal questions, to be honest. But that was a good little interview. Had some laughs here and there. That was cool. And a lot of people are saying that they've been too friendly. Now, I agree with that. Me personally, I don't give a fuck who Turkey Al-Sheikh is. I'm not sitting here eating dinner with nobody that I'm planning on hurting, and I don't plan on, and I wouldn't ever want to eat dinner with somebody who has plans on hurting me. So there's no way in hell that I would sit there and play buddy buddy with anybody. But these guys are both professionals. They've been in the game a long time, and I don't think they would necessarily need to beef with each other in order to hurt somebody. You feel what I mean? Go 787. What up? So that's their perspective. That's their point of view. But me personally, if it's up, like if we sign the dotted line to fight each other, and there's a possible scenario where you could take me from my family, or I could take you from my family, or I'll take you from your family. I meant to say. Then there's no way in hell that I'm about to sit here and just be all cool with you, buddy, buddy. You know what I mean? Eating steak with you. Nah, we're not doing none of that. Definitely not eating dinner with our op. You could tell that Turkey Al Sheik, man, he don't really understand. Like, he's just a nigga with money, bro. Like, he genuinely doesn't understand the game. Bald head seems confused. Who are we referring to? Coffee Plant said, me personally, if I had to eat dinner in front of the enemy, my appetite would be non-existent. I agree. Who is this dude Robert talking about? I don't know who this dude talking about. Who's Robert talking about? But you could tell Turkey Al Sheik, he just a nigga with money, man. He don't really understand the nature of boxing. He doesn't understand like the mindset of a fighter. You feel what I mean? Because the last thing you would ever, and luckily them guys are both cool reserve guys, but what if this would have been guys that were more intense? Like let's say that was Jermell Charlo and Terence Crawford. That table probably would have been flipped. They probably would have had all. They probably would have been going back and forth. That probably would have been a motherfucking disaster. So with the wrong personalities, that could have been a bad situation. But it is what it is. You know what I mean? They not tripping, so why should I? Canelo ain't had no problem eating dinner with him. Crawford ain't had no problem eating dinner with him. So who am I to complain or criticize? You feel me? It is what it is. Um, Now let's talk about former heavyweight champion of the world, Deontay Wilder, man. He has a fight coming up, I believe this weekend. Let me actually look at that to confirm. But it looks like Deontay Wilder is fighting come this weekend, June 27th. Yep. So in 5 days, he's going to be going up against Tyrell Anthony Herndon. Uh, I believe that's how you say his last name. He's 24-5 and has been stopped in 4 of the last 5 losses that he has picked up in his career. He has been inactive. He hasn't fought since like May of 2024. He's 6'3", and he looks like he's a pretty heavy dude. Well, not necessarily. I've seen him get as high as 252, 264. You know what I mean? So it looks like 264 is his like career high weight. No, 265. So he looks like he fluctuates between the 220s and the 260s. You know what I'm saying? So this is a solid dude. Deontay Wilder is significantly taller, but he is significantly lighter as well. Deontay Wilder, one of the hardest punchers that we've seen within the past, few eras, maybe the hardest puncher of all time, depending on, who you ask. He's looking to make a comeback. He's been having some shaky performances in his last 5 bouts. He's only won one time, y'all. He's literally 1-4 in his last 5 fights. He lost to Tyson Fury back to back, got stopped both times in the last 2 bouts that he had picked up. He had stopped Robert Helenius. Then after that, he had took a bad loss. One of the worst performances I've ever seen from Deontay Wilder against Joseph Park, and then he got sparked by Julie Zhang. So, he's looking to get back into the mix. He's saying that he would like to make at least one more title run. You feel what I mean? But that's easier said than done, man. You know what I mean? But he's taking I'm perceiving it to be a light touch in Tyrell Herndon, because in all honesty, if you just name the last few guys that he's beat, Tyrell isn't on the level of neither one of them. He's not on the Julie Zhang level. He's not on the Joseph Parker level. Joseph Parker, one of the best heavyweights in the world right now, in my opinion. Robert Helenius, I don't look at him as being better than Robert Helenius, if we, being honest, even though Robert Helenius has never been like that, impressive to me. And he's definitely Tyson Fury or even a Luis Ortiz. So, yeah. So he's looking to, get this win over Tyrell. I'll tell you what though, if he comes up short against Tyrell or even has a bit of controversy with Tyrell, then he just needs to go ahead and hang it up. You know what I mean? And I've been saying this about Deontay Wilder for a good amount of time now. You feel what I mean? Deontay Wilder is one of my favorite fighters of within these past few years. I loved his uh, his performances. I loved his explosiveness. I just love what he brought to the ring. And one of the things I rocked with Deontay Wilder the most is that he wanted to face top tier level opposition. You feel what I mean? He didn't care who it was, and he did whatever he could to make the fights happen. And whether they were made or not, he always went on to, if the fights weren't made, he always went on to the next best option. I've always said that if Deontay Wilder never gave Luis Ortiz the opportunities he gave him, Luis Ortiz would have never fought for a world title. I think the politics of boxing would have completely blackballed him. You feel what I mean? Tyson Fury, let's not forget, Deontay Wilder really brought Tyson Fury back into boxing. If you listen to Tyson Fury's story, he said he was well over 400 pounds, a drug addict, alcoholic, partying, having trouble, with his family at home, and then he would hear the interviews from Deontay Wilder, and that motivated him to get back in shape and get back into the ring with him. You know what I mean? So Deontay Wilder not only has given us exciting performances, but gave us, some great moments to remember in boxing. Specifically the comeback of Tyson Fury, which was, it was impressive. You feel what I mean? So Deontay Wilder, he's looking to make a comeback. I haven't been feeling his performances lately, though, man. I honestly believe if you're asking me personally, uh, you know, he's a shell of himself. I thought that was very apparent in the Joseph Parker fight. He didn't seem like he had the same turn. He didn't seem to have the same turn on his punches that he's had before. His legs, his balance, his legs look like they, you know, completely shot. He looks off balance on all of his punches. He doesn't even look like he wants to turn like his punches over how he's done in the past. You feel what I mean? He lacks that explosiveness. He lacks that balance. Looks like he's even lacking that power. You feel what I'm saying? So, which is crazy to say about Deontay Wilder, considering that out of all his wins, I think only 2 fights have went the distance. So, yeah, man. Deontay Wilder, I think he is a shell of himself, and I don't think his coaching really helps neither. I've been highly critical of Malik Scott. I think that Malik Scott has done a terrible job, in my opinion. Unless Deontay Wilder is that shot where he's not following instructions, I think he's done a terrible job of maintaining Deontay Wilder's style. I think that Deontay Wilder's style has completely changed up since being with Malik Scott, and I think that's part of the reason why he's been having the performances that he's been having, along with being a shell of himself. So we'll see how the fights go this weekend. I'm rooting for Deontay Wilder, but like I said, if he doesn't look like himself, or even like even half of himself, I do not want to see that man come back into boxing. I feel like at this point, if you're still, encouraging Deontay Wilder to box, it's almost like, how can I really question if you got his best interest? You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like if you holding him accountable, you keeping it real with him, you want him to preserve his health. He's already taken some bad beatings in the fights, in some of the fights he's been in. So, the additional damage will only hurt him, in the long term. So that's just my personal opinion. My boy Richard Todd in the building said, my brother, godfather of boxing, Mazuma. Shout out to the boy Richard for showing love as always. Kong Studio said, who's your favorite fighter right now and of all time? My favorite fighters right now in the sport of boxing, David Benavidez, Ben Rodriguez, and Jaron Ennis. I usually alternate between the 3. That's why I just hold them all to the same regard, because I feel different all the time. So I always mention those 3 fighters. My favorite fighter of all time was Felix Tito Trinidad. That's the man who's inspired me to box. My favorite fighter of all time. Kobe Plant says, miss Prime Wilder. Shit, I do too, man. I would have loved to have seen Prime Wilder in this current climate of heavyweights. I would have loved to have seen a Prime Wilder against, Dubois, Usyk. Shit. Can you imagine Prime Wilder versus Cabiel? I would have loved to have seen that, a Prime Wilder against Julie Zhang. You know what I mean? Not the one that Wilder, not the Not the version of Wilder we seen fight Julie Zhang this time. I'm saying prime Wilder, like the one who, Bermain Stavern 2 Wilder, Luis Ortiz 1 and 2 Wilder, uh, you know, Artur Spielka Wilder. I would love to have seen that Wilder in the mix of, this current crop of heavyweights, man. We would have seen some absolute bangers, man. You know what I mean? Prime Wilder versus Usyk for everything, for all the belts. Shit. Man, that would have been sensational. I ain't even gonna lie to you. But things happen for a reason, and let's see, man. Maybe Wilder got something up his sleeve. You feel what I mean? Maybe he comes back against Tyrell Herndon, and he does some crazy damage to him. But you can already tell that it's set in place for Wilder to knock him out. Like we see what's going on with the matchmaking. Deontay Wilder, one of the hardest punches in boxing history. Tyrell Herndon doesn't look like he stands up to a punch real well. He has 5 losses, and he's been stopped 4 out of the 5 times. So it's almost like if he loses, it's typically because he gets clipped. You feel what I mean? And if you look at the guys that he's actually been stopped by, he's been stopped by a 4-1 when he was 5-0, and then he got stopped by F.A. Ajagba in his pro debut. Then Brandon Glatton. Brandon Glatton is a I believe he's a cruiserweight from what I understand. So he over here getting stopped by cruiserweights. No, that was actually a DQ. My apologies. That was a DQ. So hold on. So it was actually 1, 2, 3. But that's actually a DQ. I think it's hold on. Did we count that? 2, 3, 4. No, we don't count that. He got stopped by Richard Torres as well. I actually remember that fight. Now that I think about it. He's beating guys that are literally 0-20, 14-14. So this dude has a fucking padded ass record, bro. Um, he got stopped by some quality guys, but he also got stopped by somebody who's 2-4. You know what I mean? In the first round. So this is supposed to be a fucking gimme fight for Wilder. So if he absolutely fumbles this, then he just needs to go ahead and find something else to do because boxing ain't it. You feel what I mean? Prime Wilder versus Joe Joyce would have been fired. That joint definitely would have been fired, but shit, stylistically, Joe Joyce against a Prime Wilder, Joe Joyce would have gotten slaughtered. That would have been the worst. If I'm Joe Joyce with the abilities that I got, that my punch is slow as a motherfucker, I ain't got no head movement, no defense whatsoever, and you just in line for that right hand, Wilder's a stylistic nightmare for somebody like Joe Joyce. You know what I mean? Go 787 says Canelo, Benavidez, Bivol, Boo, Xander, Bud, Bam, Usyk, and Jonabek are my favorites to watch. Salute to Go 787. So yeah, I guess you excited about Canelo Bud then, because they both on your list. Malik be training Wilder to do things that Wilder has never done in the ring before. That's true. You know what I'm saying? That's what fucked me up about the whole situation. Like, you got this dude Wilder using this. Like, if we watch Deontay Wilder and see what he's done in his career, he's never been the type to use lateral movement or, sit up against the ropes and, make guys, and run guys into punches. That's never been who Wilder has been. You feel what I'm saying? I've seen Wilder knock people out on the ropes while he was on the ropes, but you know what I mean? That whole setting traps and all that bullshit, man, like that's not who Wilder is. Wilder was always a type dude who, you know what I mean, he keep the jab on you, keep the jab on you. He finds you with the right hand off of the jab. He was a simple fighter. You feel what I mean? But you overcomplicate shit and try to add the sweet science to his game, and his game was never built upon that. That's never what made him successful as a heavyweight. So you got him doing all this extra shit. He believing in you because he paying you the big money to put together these game plans, and you having a shitty ass performance, bro. Just to be honest with you, you know what I'm saying? Shitty performances, and I don't know, man. I don't know if Wilder chose you because he's comfortable with you or because you a yes man or anything like that. Because I did notice that, you fired Mark Breland when all he did was look for your best interest. You know what I mean? You said don't ever throw the towel and things like that. But, at the end of the day, you can't really tell a fighter what. You can't tell a trainer that he can't throw the towel, bro. Like, what type of shit is that? You know what I'm saying? I try to reserve my whole opinion on that. But like, oh, if you ever throw the towel, I'll fire you. Like, nigga, then go ahead and fire me. I ain't about to be the reason why you die, nigga. Like, what the fuck? Like, shit makes absolutely no sense. Also, if I tell you to do a job and you don't follow through with the job, then you deserve to be cut. All right, cool. But then at the same time, you give a motherfuckers a job to do, and there's clearly something that's, and then you telling them to go against the job description too. So how the fuck that work? How you tell somebody, oh, you know what I mean? I'm hiring you to do this job. And then part of the job description of that job is to ensure your fighters, safety, ensure your fighters' health. You know what I mean? The main objective of a coach is to make sure that your fighter comes home safe and sound to his family. You know what I mean? So he sees that you taking a substantial amount of damage. He ain't about to be the reason why you pass away. I don't want to be the reason why your family don't make it. You don't make it home to your family. Boxing is that serious. 13 people a year are unalived from the sport of boxing. So you hiring this man to take on a specific job, but trying to restrict him for what's within his job description. That was disgusting, bro. So you take a dude who was your sparring partner, because y'all best friends and shit like that, not because he's knowledgeable, not because he's gonna get you, those wins, but because he's a yes man to you. This is just my opinion. Just because he's a yes man to you, right? And y'all happen to be best friends and y'all sparring partners, you're gonna automatically put him in a position to train you. You're gonna put him in position to train you, and this dude has no track record of training any world level titleists, no world level fighters. Who has Malik Scott trained that was a world level fighter, bro? Like, seriously, before Deontay Wilder, who was Malik Scott training that gave Deontay Wilder that reassurance that he was gonna, be a great trainer? Nobody. Nobody. Like that shit is absolutely ridiculous. I don't understand that shit. So um it is what it is, man. I've had my criticisms, and look, Malik Scott from Philadelphia. You know what I'm saying? I'm familiar with Malik Scott. I don't believe I've ever seen him in person, but I'm familiar with his game. I've seen him throughout the years. I respect dude, but at the same time, it's like, come on, dog. Like, you ain't got no business training Wilder. Your game plans have been absolutely horrible. And just because you're knowledgeable on the sport don't mean that you could coach in the sport. I'm not saying that you're not a coach, but at the same time, you're recognized, as a knowledgeable boxing dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, you come across as like a historian just based off of what I hear from how the way you speak. But it doesn't seem like the knowledge that you've obtained throughout your years of learning boxing, it don't look like it's translating into your fighters, brother. So it got me low key questioning your teaching abilities. Just my opinion. Just because you know it don't mean you can teach it. Zordo looked good under Malik. I mean, was Zordo? I don't know. You know what I mean? Who's to say that? I've always seen Zordo look good though. There's fights where he was outmatched and guys was better than him. But what fight did Zordo start with Malik Scott? When did he start working with Malik Scott? So October 31st of 2024. I think since he made his cruiserweight debut. So he faced Joe Smith Jr., Arsen Willemarian, and Chris Billums. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Yo, coffee, that shit crazy, bro. Yeah, this shit good. I ain't never see a moderator, bro, get targeted in the chat with trolls. Never seen that. Always see like, whoever running the channel getting trolled, not the moderators. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know how he's doing with Zordo. I'm telling you what I'm saying off of Deontay Wilder. I just don't understand why you overcomplicating shit when Deontay Wilder, you know, style was simple, but it was effective. So why not just stick with the simple shit? Sometimes simple is better. But it is what it is. You know what I mean? That's their business. And Wilder obviously he cool with Malik. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean if you 1-4 in your last 5 fights, so what Malik, Deontay Wilder, let me see. He started training when he started training Wilder, the second Tyson Fury fight or the third. Yeah, I mean, regardless, they in the negatives. You feel me? Malik teaching them stuff that he can't do. It's not that he can't do it. It's just that he can't do it at a high level. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, it's never been what he's done. Why are you teaching? This man is Wilder's like what, 40 something years old, bro? Ain't Wilder like 40? Wilder like 40 years old, bro. Like you trying to teach him all this shit now. 39, bro. About to be 40 this year. Yeah, Wilder was a dude who fought off his jab to set up his right hand. Right. That's all that ever was for him. Oh, you could have tightened up his defense, like made his high guard tighter and stuff like that, had him vary his jab a little bit, but you trying to make this nigga outboxing. Dying. Trolls is in full effect. Damn. That boy Hill Bainey ain't even say nothing crazy, but I understand because that's a troll account. But anyways, we spoke about Terence Crawford and Canelo's heated press conference. We spoke about Deontay Wilder's fight week. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty much, it's out. That's supposed to be a layup for Wilder. You know what I mean? Hopefully he disposes of Tyrell. You know what I mean? So we could talk about him possibly facing, Dave Allen in the UK and stuff like that. You know what I mean? If he's gonna continue to box, then I wish him the best on what he does. But me personally, you know what I mean? I don't really see Wilder making a comeback in boxing. I think I saw what I saw during those Zhang and Joseph Parker fights, and once a fighter starts to look like that, when their legs not underneath them and their coordination is gone, their reflexes are gone, their balance is gone, I'm bound to believe that fighter's best days are behind them. So I mean, that's just my opinion. Maybe he could prove me wrong, but I've always been a big fan of Wilder, and I hope that if he truly chooses to make another title reign in boxing, that it's a safe and healthy one. You know what I mean? I don't want to see that dude get hurt, man. You know what I mean? So we'll see. We'll definitely see. Wilder was never slick. Yeah, like that was never his thing. Wilder was never like this skillful, well-rounded fighter, but here you go trying to make him one. Well, he's 39 years old and his best days are behind him. Now you trying to add all this extra shit like, and Malik, he was one of those dudes that he was a thinker in there. You know what I'm saying? Wasn't a top tier heavyweight by any means, but he was a smart boxer. You know what I mean? I remember seeing him fight. So now you're trying to implement that on Wilder. But now and see what coaches gotta understand, bro, is that you can't train everybody the same. Or just because you train somebody this particular way, well, just because you train this particular way, that don't mean that the guys you train need to box that way neither. You need to really sit down and take the time to understand who your fighter is, what their abilities are, you know what I mean, you know, what they're good at and what they're not good at. Try to strengthen their weaknesses and have them, continue to build on their strengths. You can't train the tall athletic fighter to fight like the short, stocky brawler. You know what I mean? You can't train the counter puncher how the way you train the brawler. You know what I mean? Like you gotta understand what the fighter does well. You gotta see what they style is based around and move off of that. You try to train every fighter the same, you're not gonna have a winning recipe, man. You're not. Shout out to my boy Ralph in the building. He said that make the ring smaller comment was corny on Canelo's part. When has Bud ever used hella movement in a fight? He hasn't. You know what I mean? Like I remember like the Victor Poe style fight, he was boxing and using movement and shit like that. But you know, that's never been a habitual thing. But that just goes to show you, Ralph, that smaller ring idea that they got going on in boxing right now is to specifically target black fighters. Because you even talking about fighters being runners that don't even have that running shit or not even consistent runners. You know what I mean? And when I was saying that, oh man, when this motherfucker was running around with them swollen ass eyes and that taco head, he was talking about how, you know what I mean, that no running rule isn't towards black fighters. But everybody that's being criticized for being runners are black fighters. So y'all gotta miss me with the bullshit. You feel what I'm saying? That smaller ring comment insinuating that Crawford's gonna run around. Crawford isn't no runner, bro. He's not a runner. What fights have you seen where he's completely, try to run from fighters or didn't want to engage? But a dog, cuz he go to the smoke. I seen him do it. Even when it was dangerous, I seen him go into the smoke and prevail each and every time thus far in his career. So you making that smaller ring comment, that just lets me know in my mind that when you see a black fighter, you just automatically assume that they're gonna run. That's I don't see nobody's making that smaller ring comment for fighters that aren't black American boxers. I don't. I don't. You feel me? This whole narrative started up after the Devin Haney and Jose Ramirez performance, the William Skull and Canelo performance. You feel what I'm saying? But they want you to believe that no running rule, that's for everybody who decides to run in the ring. Hack him, please. Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? Let's get into these open boxing topics, man. What we talking about? What's on the people's mind? I know boxing been a little slow lately. You feel what I mean? T said Jahad Tucker was moving well in that 10 by 10 last night. Shit, I almost forgot. I didn't even bring up the Jahad Tucker and Lorenzo Simpson situation, man. It was a great fight. You know what I mean? It's not very, often where we see two young guys, like Lorenzo Simpson and Jahad Tucker fighting. So I definitely had to come in and tune into that. I did not watch the Vito Milnicki fight because I'm just not a fan of him, to be honest with you. I'm not really intrigued in what he does in his career. I think he's a fraud. Just my personal opinion, but I definitely tuned into the Truck and Lorenzo fight. I thought I thought that they both brought what they had to the table. Jahi, his fucking will, he's a dog. You know what I mean? It might hurt him in the long run, but he's definitely a dog. He comes in great shape. He lets his fucking hands go and he brings the fight. He also mixes up a little bit of slickness and athleticism. You know what I mean? You even see him. I like the in and out movement that he was doing. He was confusing Lorenzo a little bit, and he's very determined, man. I like Jahees Tucker's mindset. I think he's a bit reckless, and I think that against the right opponent, he might get hurt really bad if he doesn't tune up on his defense a little bit. But Lorenzo, man, I don't know what it was with Lorenzo. He was placing some good body shots and he had some good moments here and there, but he couldn't keep up with Jahi's volume. You could tell that he was overwhelmed. And whenever he was trying to get off, Jahi was tying him up. And you could just tell that Lorenzo was tapped out from a mental aspect, just seeing frustrated. Uh you know what I mean? They can never really get control of the fight. Like I said, he'll land some shots here and there. You can even see like some body shots that really got Tucker's attention and shit like that. But for the most part, Jahi was in complete control. I thought that he dominated Lorenzo. I was getting kind of concerned for Jahi because he was leaving a lot of openers for Lorenzo to, counter him or hit him with some big shots. But, it didn't look like he was ever phased by, besides, a couple body shots that I seen. I didn't really see him get rattled by Lorenzo's power where he got discouraged or anything like that. So I just thought that Jahi outworked him. You know what I mean? Truck couldn't keep up with his pace. And at the end of the fight, he looked like he had some fatigue, in him. But he also looked like he was frustrated as well. I think the frustration took over. And as a result, he started to break down physically. You know what I mean? Because once you tapped out mentally, your physical starts to break down as well. So, that's what I assess from the fight, man. Jahi Tucker is a dog. You know what I mean? He comes in great shape. He lets his hands go. And, he definitely entertaining. So I'm looking forward to seeing Jahi Tucker's next fight in terms of what's going on for Lorenzo. I think he needs to get back to the drum. First of all, he needs to assess whether he's going to do what it takes in order to become an elite level fighter. He got 3 losses at this point. So a lot of people are going to overlook him. I've seen people calling him all types of bums and shit like that. I'm not going to call Truck a bum at all. I just think that he needs to make some adjustments. But before he makes those adjustments, he needs to assess whether he really wants to do this or not. You know what I mean? He got to change some things up. I was happy to see him back with Coach Calvin and shit like that. And I heard Coach Calvin say, "I'm just so happy to get my son back," which is very that was touching to me. Pause. You feel what I'm saying? Like that was you could tell you could really tell that Calvin got a deep love for his fighters and stuff like that, and that's admirable. You know what I mean? But yeah, so Lorenzo needs to go back and figure out some things, and he got to really turn up, bro. You know what I mean? Hopefully, that Jahi Tucker fight made him realize he got to throw more punches. He need to be more active. He need to be a bit more assertive, a bit more aggressive. And once he's able to do that, I'm sure he might see some different things. If he was able to keep up with Tucker in terms of volume, then he might have been able to had an advantage in the fight because I didn't really see like in the skill set department, I didn't really see Jahi like just being like so like levels above him. No, I actually did. I thought it was pretty even in the skill set department. But the thing was, Jahi was taking more chances. He was letting his hands go more, and Lorenzo looked like he was overwhelmed by the pace. That's what it looked like to me. But it is what it is. Can Canelo Bud be Canelo Khan too? No, I definitely wouldn't say that. You know what I mean? I definitely wouldn't say it. Say that anything can happen in boxing. Any outcome is possible. Uh, but I would never compare Bud to Amir Khan. You know what I mean? Bud is a lot more skilled than Khan, in my opinion. I think he has more respectable punching power than Amir Khan, and I think that his ability to take a shot is better than Amir Khan. So I would never go out and say that Khan that Bud gonna go out like Amir Khan. I think that's a bit disrespectful, to be honest with you. But I do understand the comparison in terms of like moving up in weight and going up against a bigger, stronger guy. But I just don't see Bud going out like that. If anything, I think that I knew Coffee was gonna do that shit. Your boy Coffee playing with that wrench is like a new cop power tripping with a badge. He doing what he need to do. If y'all motherfuckers talk boxing, he wouldn't be hitting y'all with a wrench. You feel me? And you made that page today. So fuck everything boxing. Go 787 in the building. Well, hold on. Anonymous said a couple things. He said, only round I saw a truck body shots hurting Jahi was round 4. Yeah, he was placing some good ones, man. And I want to say like he was like, oh, down bad, hurt by the taking knee. But there was a couple Jones where like he ran Jahi into body shots and Jahi looked like he'll freeze up a little bit. And another thing that was telling too was that when Truck will land a good body shot, Jahi will try to come back and throw a body shot too to try to make it even. So you can tell it had its effect, but you got to give credit to Jahi for being in phenomenal shape because when you have great conditioning, you could bounce back from being hurt, whether it's to the head or the body, within seconds. And that's what it looked. Jahi didn't, he would look like he'd be affected, but then he'll get right back in the mix with you. So goes to show his dog, his determination, and his conditioning. You know what I mean? He was really ready for this fight. I'm gonna just say that. So he did what he needed to do. Anonymous said Jahi was way more active and Jahi was the more athletic fighter. Yeah, yeah. You could tell from an athletic standpoint, there was things that Jahi could do that Truck couldn't do. You know what I mean? Like Truck was educated. He had skills. You could tell he was seasoned. You could tell like he came from a good pedigree. But you know what I mean? Like the movements that Jahi was doing and how quick he was coming off with punches off of the movement and stuff. You could tell that really flustered Truck. Like I seen Jahi do some shit where like he was moving side to side, then he came in with like a right hand and clocked Truck head back. And I was like, oh yeah, there's a difference in athleticism. You know what I mean? There's things that Jahi's getting away with that Truck, can't capitalize off of. You see what I'm saying? So I definitely saw that as well. Go787 says, I personally like both fighters, but I think Canelo will walk Crawford down since Bud likes to sit at times. Bud would really be moving up 21 pounds and didn't look good in his one fight at 154. Ghost, you're making some great points, and that was one of the things that I had said when the fight officially got made. I was saying how there's going to be an uphill battle for Bud. In terms of the weight move up alone. How is his legs going to be underneath him? How's his conditioning going to be when you add in all that additional weight? Is he going to have the same stamina and conditioning that he had at 47 and 54? How's his ability to take a punch in that division going to be? It's a lot of things. Your legs, your overall conditioning, your ability to take a punch. You know what I'm saying? Are you going to have a punch? Are you going to have the type of pop behind your punches where you getting Canelo's respect when Canelo has been infamously known for his ability to take a shot, for having a granite chin? It's definitely an uphill battle, but we've seen this previous performance from William Skull that Canelo had where he had trouble cutting off the ring. His punches looked slow, feet looked slow, uh, and his punches looked very telegraphed, very predictable. Now, that could have been Canelo not being motivated and, just being frustrated, whatever the case is. But nonetheless, that's a hole that Bud could possibly exploit. He could probably get a little bit of movement in, run Canelo into some shots, and keep making Canelo reset. And whenever Canelo's trying to press, you just don't give him that ability to cut the ring off. You know what I mean? When he gets a little bit too close, you tie him up, make him reset, keep that jab on him, keep turning him. As long as you keeping Canelo off balance, he's not going to have much success offensively. And another thing that I've been seeing and observing in Canelo's most recent fights is this dude will not throw punches in the center of the ring. So why not keep the fight in the center of the ring? You know what I'm saying? So I think Bud has an opportunity to possibly upset Canelo, but I can't really be all in on this Bud prediction because it's so many things that he's gonna have to go up against Canelo, and it's not even necessarily everything that Canelo brings to the table because I think Bud matches him from a skill set standpoint in a lot of ways. It's the obstacles that he's gonna have to go through himself personally, like his battles. Like I said, being able to fight with that extra weight on, having a having a having to have solid mobility with that additional because when you got that, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm about 180 pounds right now, right? Where I feel strongest is in the 50s. That's always been me. In the low 50s, I always felt the strongest. The mid 50s, I've always felt the strongest. My mobility in the 50s and my mobility in the 80s is significantly different. You know what I mean? And Bud not much bigger than me. I might have an inch pause, in terms of height over Bud. Because they said Bud like 5'8", I'm 5'9". You feel what I mean? And he's not much bigger than me from a frame aspect. You know what I mean? Obviously he's in better shape, but like we talking about like natural frame, he's not that much bigger than me neither. He got longer arms, but that's about it. So, you know, Bud's ability to move at 47 and 54 and how the way it's going to be at 68 is going to be drastically different. But is it going to be enough to, is he going to have enough mobility necessary? And is he going to have the conditioning to be constantly on the move when he doesn't have to train as hard to get the weight off? It's going to be tough, bro. It's definitely going to be tough. It's not impossible, but it's an uphill battle. It's an uphill battle. Ghost says, I honestly think it's going to be 80-20 Canelo, but it's my opinion. You entitled to your opinion, brother. And, it's not like you just out here talking out your ass. You bringing relevant, points to the table. You feel me? One thing I do know, we're going to have a fight party in this motherfucker for that fight, bro. Yeah, believe me. You know what I mean? You better believe me, because definitely gonna have some people over here. We gonna have some good food. You know what I mean? We gonna have this laptop right here, right in front of us, watching the fights, talking our shit. You feel what I mean? And the Wi-Fi on point, so we not gonna have to worry about like no glitching or fucked up quality and none of that. We gonna be straight, cuz that's gonna be a hell of a night. Mark Craig gonna be packed. I ain't gonna have too many people, bro. I don't fuck with people like that. Like my girl probably gonna bring some of her friends or whatever. I'm gonna have a couple of my fighters here. You know what I mean? A couple homies that I'm still cool with from high school, and I mean just have a good time, bro. Bring the pizza, bring the wings. You know what I mean? Bring the drinks. You know what I mean? Not the liquor. I don't drink liquor now. My girl and them do, so I'll make sure they had their liquor. I'll make sure I have my soda that I drink like once a year type shit. You know what I mean? We gonna be cool. Ralph said it's unlikely, but it would be crazy if Bud just 12-0 Canelo. Yo, this nigga Bud 12-0 Canelo, bro. Oh my God, Canelo's fan base is gonna go crazy. Definitely gonna go crazy, bro. They gonna disappear off the face of the earth, cause bro, on some real shit, bro, these Canelo fans talking so spicy about Bud. Do I do wine? No, I don't drink, bro. I don't drink at all. You know what I mean? I tried on New Year's, I tried a mimosa. I never knew what a mimosa was. It was like orange juice with like a champagne. It wasn't bad. You know what I mean? It didn't really do anything to me because I didn't drink too much, but it was not bad. But I definitely don't drink. I've never been drunk in my life. And I'm kind of scared to know how I would be drunk with the mental health issues that I have. I don't know. Go 787. So yo, Mazuma Xander looking insane for this fight. What do you mean by that? Elaborate, brother. Let me know what you're talking about. Fighters and her friends. Oh shit. Yeah, she got friends. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna speak too much on them, but she got her friends. She got cousins and shit like that. She got some friends that's all right though. My homies are probably like what they see, but I don't know. I ain't gonna lie. I think I'm the only handsome one out of the group, so I don't know if they gonna. I don't know if they gonna be with my friends. All my friends are ugly. I don't know. Feel me? I'm the only handsome one. T said. T, T said break down Puyo and Matias. If he looks shredded in great shape, what if he KOs his op? You talking about Xander Zayas? I mean, that's definitely possible. That's the thing. Xander Zayas throws so many punches. First of all, he's textbook, right? So he punches in combinations and they pretty fucking sharp. He got solid hand speed too, and he throws a lot of punches. So with somebody like what was his last name? I'm sorry, man. I'll be forgetting these dudes' names. Was it Jorge Perez? Hold on. Think it was Jorge Perez. Yeah, Jorge Garcia Perez. So, you know, with a dude like that that's coming forward and things of that nature, he's gonna be there for Xander Zayas to hit. So, you know what I mean? That's definitely gonna be a war. That's gonna be a good fight. Mexico versus Puerto Rico, you feel what I'm saying? But and for a world title, it's definitely gonna be lit. I think with accumulation, Xander can break this dude up and possibly stop him. I think he can. You feel me? Like this dude, he ain't never been stopped before, and he got some good punching power. You feel me? But I genuinely feel like he can. I think he can be beat. And I think Xander can light him up. But I don't want Xander to necessarily look for the knockout. I think that's when he'll probably play in due favor. Just gotta put your punches together and keep turning. Put your punches together and keep turning. You feel me? You just gotta box smart. You can't, you know what I mean, you can't get too reckless in there. Because that dude looked like he got some respectable pop. T says breakdown Puello and Matias. It's a great fight. You know what I'm saying? I see Matias training his ass off. He seemed confident. I seen Puello working on his combinations. His punches look fast, crisp, sharp. This is gonna be a good fight, man, because these both of these guys, and I was saying this is gonna be the best fight on the card in my opinion. That's the fight I'm looking forward to the most. Yes, I like that fight more than Shakur and Cepeda. Yes, I like the fight more than Edgar Berlanga and Hamza Shiraz. Just my opinion. You know what I mean? I think that's gonna be the most exciting fight on the card, and I think that's the fight that may possibly steal the show. You know what I'm saying? We got Puello who likes to stand his ground. He likes to punch in between fighters' punches. He's a natural counter puncher. You know what I'm saying? And he's really effective in what he does. And he puts punches right behind each other, just like Xander does. You know what I mean? Boom, 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 boom. You know what I'm saying? So with that type of counter punching ability, he could throw off somebody who's rhythmic, I'm not gonna say rhythmic, but momentum based offensively, like Subriel Matias. Matias is a type dude that he's big on momentum. You know what I mean? Once he gets the ball rolling, he just he keeps picking it up, picking it up, picking it up until that person no longer to withstand what he brings, and then they end up tapping out, getting stopped, or whatever the case is. Puello has the ability to keep giving Matias let me see, like breaking up his momentum. You know what I mean? So if you Puello and you in there with Subriel Matias, Matias is looking and he's gonna bring the pressure. He's gonna come forward. You know what I mean? He's gonna try to slip some punches here and there, catch some shots on the high guard, might get hit with some shots, but he's gonna once he gets you in a certain position, he's definitely gonna be looking to unload. Shoot some sharp shots to the body. He got very heavy hands, and he's just systematically attempting to break you down. Puello has to make it his business to whenever Matias is starting to get his offense off, you got to disrupt it right away with combinations. As long as you're able to do that, you could keep Subriel on the defense. You want a good you want a good you want a good fuck, I'm slipping right now. Like you want a good pace to do what you need to do in the fight. You know what I'm saying? So I can definitely see a situation where Matias walks him down and he might hit Puello with some good shots. You know what I mean? He might hit him. He might hit him with some heavy shit in a few exchanges. I do think that Matias has the advantage in the power department. I think that his conditioning is. I think both guys got great conditioning, but in terms of like who comes out stronger and stronger as the rounds go on, I think Matias has that. I think he obviously in the aggression department, but Matias has it. But Puello is a hell of a counterpuncher, man, and that in itself is going to give somebody like Subriel problems. You know what I mean? Especially if Matias can't find a way inside. So I would say Puello definitely got to like keep his range. Look like he got the longer arms in comparison to Matias, and whenever Matias tries to step in, you blast them combinations off, and then you make him reset his feet. You know what I'm saying? So um, it's a great 50-50 fight. I'm rooting for Subriel. Um, I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna watch back that Gary Antoine Russell fight with Albert Puello. You know what I mean, and really get a feel for what Puello gets hit with. You know what I mean, what he seems to be a sucker for. Everybody got holes in their defense. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm gonna go back and see what he does. I already know what Subriel brings. So I'll let you know. How the way this fight will most likely go as the fight gets closer. Shout out to the boy Teach. Anyone know when the next Canelo Bud press conference? I'm not sure. This nigga said Matias gonna get beat dead. You got Matias fucked up. I don't know about him getting beat dead. He always saying some exaggerated ass statement. Anonymous said, who should Frank fight in his comeback at 140? Also, which championship route should he take if he goes the WBC route? You said, I think he goes the WBC route personally. Oh, man, that. Every avenue is going to be tough for Frank Martin. If we being honest, like the WBO route, that'll be a little tough. Tiafimo will be a tough style for Frank Martin. You know, WBC, Albert Puello, the IBF, Richardson Hitchens, the WBA, Gary Antoine Russell. God damn. Um, stylistically, bro, Frank Martin comeback fight. Let me answer that first. I'm hearing that it's Rances Bartholomew. I just had somebody in the chat. I think L Dub was saying that, or was it somebody else saying that he might come back against Rances Bartholomew? Um, so if he comes back against him, I think he'll get a clear victory over Rances Bartholomew. Just my opinion. Damn, but which route should he go? That's actually a good fucking question. Gary Antoine Russell, no. You feel what I'm saying? Um, Teofimo Lopez, we gonna hold off on that one. Richardson Hitchens, maybe. Albert Puello. Can Frank Martin get with Puello, bro? I don't know. I feel like that'd be a tough style for Frank Martin too. Shit, I might go to IBF, bro. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Yeah, you shouldn't believe. Yeah, you shouldn't believe no random people neither. Real announcements for sure. Hitchens the only option. Shit, I would go. I think the easiest route would be Hitchens, but even then you might get picked off. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you slipping, you know, because Hitchens actually been active and you know he getting that experience under his belt as a champion now with the title defense. So yeah, and Hitchens might actually move up. I don't know. He seemed like he a bit undecided right now whether he want to stay at 140 or go to 47. If you talking about Dev, most likely you gonna have to go up to 47. If you fighting Tio, then you could probably stay at 140. So it's all about what his next option is. You know what I mean? Whatever's available on his plate. You feel what I mean? Uh, but if he goes up to 47 and vacate that IBF, Frank Martin should go for that, or at least attempt to. But it's smoke everywhere. Yeah. Carvey said you seen the Bill video. Which one? Where he ran up on Hitchens? The funniest shit, yo, Bill is. I'm sorry, bro. I know y'all niggas. A lot of niggas don't like Bill and shit like that, but Bill is fucking hilarious to me. He calls Richardson Hitchens Little Richie. I don't know why that shit is so funny. Little Richie Richardson. I'm like, bro, that's not his name. But never mind, it is his name. No, he calls him Hitchinson. He called him Little Richie Hitchinson. Like you combining his first name and his last name together, I think that shit is hilarious. But you can tell like he got like he playing a character, you know what I mean? Where he just stirring shit up to bring. He got his promoter hat on. People don't be understanding that shit. He literally got his promoter hat on. People keep talking about, man, why Bill keep clout chasing up? Bro, that's what promoters get paid to do. He said, yo, Dev sent me over here. Why you think Dev sent me? Let's say Dev did send him over. Why you think he did that? Because he's Dev's promoter. That's his job to big his son's name up. As long as he's getting his son's name out there and keeping his son's name relevant, he's doing his job. Yeah, Lil Richie is fucking hilarious, bro. I don't know why. Lil Richie Richardson or some shit like that. That's what Bill was calling me. Plus he live in New York right now. Yeah, that's where Bill Haney lives at right now. He said that he moved to New York because his daughter is going to school over there. So he's being over there just to like, you know. be her shoulder to lean on while she's getting her education and shit. That's real father shit. Salute the Bill. Speaking of 140, Jermaine Ortiz versus Steve Claggett happening in August on MVP card. Jermaine Ortiz gonna box the shit out of Steve Claggett, man. See, that's what happens. See, when you fight bums, you give them opportunities to be in other big fights and shit like that, especially if you don't stop him. See, like T.O. made Steve Claggett a name. Can't make this shit up. Go 787 says, Yo, Mazuma, go watch Sandor Martin versus Puello. I believe Matias could replicate what he did and beat Puello since he gets tired the last 4 rounds. Shit. I did watch the Sandor Martin fight, and Sandor Martin was ripping some combinations. That's actually a great observation of Ghost. He was sitting down and ripping some, ripping body shots on the inside and shit like that. So Matias, he got what it take, bro. He definitely got what it take. But at the same time, I'm not gonna sit here and act like Subriel is the most consistent boxer. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes he puts on great performances and he does his thing, and then other times, like the Leon Paro fight, you know what I mean? He's not really doing too much. So I don't know, man. But once I get off of here, I'm about to be watching Subriel. I'm gonna watch a few Subriel fights. I always go back to the Malik Hawkins fight. I always go back to the Jukin Baez, the Ergashev fight, and really look at what he does when he avenged his loss against Petros, shit like that. Puello is definitely world class, though. Watch versus Dada Shev, who was moving on. Yeah, I watched the Dada Shev fight too. I don't watch about every Subriel fight that's been televised. So somebody called him Richardson Bitchson. That's crazy. I never called him that. I do. I got my criticisms about Hitchens though. I'm not the biggest fan of dude. I think he got the SSD. I diagnosed him with. I'm about to, man. Listen, man. I'm about to go get me a motherfucking lab coat like a doctor. Bring the stethoscope. You know what I mean? And I'm about to start really selecting. I'm about to really start diagnosing niggas with SSD, man. Selective smoke disorder, man. That selective smoke disorder, man. Matias versus Russell, that would be my nigga. Somebody gonna leave that fight not the same. They might take a lot out of each other in that fight. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. Those type of fights is real dangerous. Jab Queen, what up? What's going on, Jab Queen? Little Richie. Bill called that nigga Little Richard Richardson or some shit like that. I don't know why that was funny as hell. Little Richard Hissons. Yeah. Lopez versus Puello, you referring to Teofimo? That'd be a good fight too. And plus, Tio should look at that fight because Puello not gonna be hard to find. He gonna be there. Tio don't like to look for his food. You know what I mean? He don't like to go hunting. So Puello will be a good fight for him because Puello not gonna be hard to find. He gonna be right there waiting for him. Them niggas gonna be fighting like anime straight hands. Yo, fact. But bro, they both gonna take damage, bro. Like that shit, like niggas not leaving that ring the same. They gonna lose something in there. Unless one of them gets packed up quick, which I doubt. Somebody gonna leave that shit significantly damaged. Russell packs Matias up. I don't know. I never seen Russell in there with a style like that. Never seen. Have we ever seen Russell on the back foot though? Not saying that he can't fight going backwards, but have we seen that? Like, no disrespect to Ryo, but Ryo ain't no Matias, bro. Feel me? Totally different style. Has Gary Antoine Russell ever been on the back foot? Yeah, moments. Yeah. And I see some good body shots Ryo placed against Russell too. So Matias could do something. Matias could do something. Gary. I want to see Puyo and Gary rematch though, since they both champions now. Why not make that unification? Gary ate a new Spence after that last fight, Street Machine. He definitely a machine for sure. That style, a lot of people gonna have trouble with Gary, bro. I think Gary could beat T.O. I think Gary will beat Hitchens. I think he got what it takes to be undisputed in the weight class. And if he turned it up a little bit more, I think he could beat Puyo too. I think he could beat Puyo in the rematch. I think he could beat every champion in the division. T.O. gonna have trouble with Gary, bro. I'm telling you. Who got beat by Ryo? Nah, you bugging the fuck out. Ryo beat who? You gotta be trolling, bro. We not about to be doing this. Go ahead and say Ryo beat Russell so we can get you packed and up out of here, man. And Gary almost stopped Ryo, bro. Can't be talking about that. Gary dogged Ryo, bro. Ryo didn't know what to do with him. Had Ryo go right back down to 35. Hell yeah. He moved back down to 35. He ain't want no more smoke. He gotta be trolling, bro. I think Ryo did a good job of like, tying up and shit like that. I remember that. Ryo knew he kind of beat him, so he just held on. I ain't gonna lie, I felt bad for Ryo too, cause I ain't even gonna lie to you. Like, I felt bad for him too. Hold on real quick, let me get something to drink. If you could tell Ryo was trying too, like, you know what I mean? Yeah, Breezy, shut the fuck up. This nigga said, imagine getting beat up by a nigga who stank. Yo, listen, that be the niggas you get your ass whooped by, bro, because them niggas ain't they don't give a fuck about nothing, bro. They don't give a fuck about their hygiene. They don't give a fuck about you, bro. Tell you that shit right now. Like, them niggas walking, bro. They know they stink and they just walking around not caring about what people think. That's a dangerous nigga. That's a nigga who don't give a fuck about public perception. He don't care to be down with society. That nigga is a fucking problem. That's the nigga you gotta stay away from. That's what you gotta stay away from, bro. That man will take your life with no problem. He don't subscribe to the bullshit, you heard? They marking their territory, yep. They don't care. Very different, bro. Who was that? Yasir Ali that was in the chat and he said he took a picture with Antoine and he said his nigga fingernails was dirty and shit. Like, bro, ain't no way, bro. Ain't no way. Just walking around with black fingernails, punching on niggas. That's a different nigga. Mm-mm. Yo, Antoine, my girl a nail tech, cuz. You know what I mean? If you hook me up with an interview, I have her do I have her do your nails for free, bro. Quick John. You know what I mean? Clip them bitches, file them bitches. Put if you want to put the clear polish, you know what I mean? We got you. This a nail tech dust that I'm currently on right now. See, this a dust collector right here. You know what I mean? She got the little look. You know what I'm saying? Got all that going on. Feel me? File them bitches. You see, clip them bitches. Something. Got everything you need in this motherfucker. What? What? I don't know who he talking about. Imagine what them toenails look like. Yeah, bro. That nigga nails be cutting holes in his socks. Hey, but you got moths in your crib, nigga? Nah, man. My fingernail, toenails, man. Miles Sadiq, salute. He said these 140 chance need to see each other. I want to see T.O. versus Hitchens. Yeah, man, but T.O. be on that type time because he think he beat Josh Taylor that he ain't got to fight none of the other champs in the division. Oh, man, I'm two-time undisputed. Yeah, I'm two-time undisputed. You know, I beat, all the champions. All the champions is below me. Nigga, no, they not, bro. No, they not. He just want to completely ignore that. All the oh, I'm lineal champion. Okay. How about the WBC champion? How about the WBA champion? How about the IBF champion? Because there's three other champions there that are on the same level as you. That's how I look at it. I don't give a fuck what you accomplished in previous divisions, and I don't give a fuck about none of that. As soon as you go into a whole new division and there's three other champions in that division, including you, y'all gotta run it. Well, excluding you. Three other champions excluding you. You need to run it. Uh, Kano, I think you getting Antoine Russell mixed up with Mr. Gary Russell because you saying that Russell lost to Loma and Magsayo is different. What? It said Charleston made the nigga quit. Ain't no way. Hold on, I gotta watch this though. I'm sorry. I'm watching this, y'all. On my fault. I was waiting on this. Charleston got a whole belly. This nigga is hilarious, bro. Yo, look at Charleston. Shout out to you skinny as shit. Yo, Charleston got me like 120 pounds, bro. Hold up. I wish I could do a live. I wish I could share this shit. Hold up. Packing, cuz. Do what you gotta do, anonymous. Oh shit. Oh, it's physical in that bitch. Oh, look, he putting the elbow in his face and all. Oh, yo, this is my first time. Hey, why the video unavailable? No, what happened? I would fight on there. To be honest with you, I would fight on there. Yo, they made the video private, bro. Bro, I was in the middle of watching it. Wow, that's grimy. What? It did me dirty. I was just watching that shit. Oh wait, hold up. Never mind. I got it back. Fuck you mean? Why y'all playing on me like this? Charleston is fucking hilarious. I swear, he gotta be the funniest. He definitely like funniest niggas on the internet. Up there, bro. Okay, so Charleston is Southpaw. That's a bit of an even fight because they both smaller dudes. You know what I mean? They don't weigh that much. Prime Gary Jr. would have embarrassed Tank. Yeah, Tank would have had trouble with that boy. Oh shit, it's getting a little gritty in there. Charleston not playing with him, forearm in the face. Oh yeah. Charleston trying to hurt him though. Charleston on his OG shit. And mind you, Charleston got one eye. Uh-huh. Good body shot from Charleston. Okay, Charleston got some legs on him. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh yeah, Charleston grimy with that forearm, boy. Hold on, let me adjust these comments real quick. I've been waiting to see this shit, bro. So Prime Gary Jr. would have embarrassed Tank. That's a fact. I believe so. The hand speed, the boxing ability, he'd have made him pay like a motherfucker. Jason Gilliam says, "Hey, bro, I'm a big fan." Shout out to Jason Gilliam. He looks like a little young boy, so let's not be too hard on him, chat. But at the same time, it says you joined about a week ago. How old are you, champ? You look like a little kid, man. Feel like you just been posting videos all crazy on your channel. You look like you about 10 years old. Hold on, bro. I'm sorry, I gotta see this, bro. Cause I've never seen Charleston throw hands. I only ever heard him talk crazy and mace niggas and shit like that. So okay. Oh, I respect Charleston for throwing hands though. Like he ain't, you know what I mean? He ain't no sucker. Charleston already look like he tired though. Ooh, good left hand. He must got some pop because that Island boy bitching. Yeah, he tired. Charleston tired. Yo, you only 2 minutes in. Ooh, good left hand. Yo, Charleston hurting him. Charleston must got some pop on that left hand, boy. Or this nigga just a turkey. Yeah, they ain't no street niggas, bro. They super weird. Ooh, good left hand. Yo, that Island boy cannot fight, bro. He's embarrassing. He got a whole kid. Like he got a whole kid. Don't he got like a whole baby mom that he with? And shit, like, bro, how could you not know how to defend yourself? You a whole father out here, bro. Oh, Charleston catching you clean, boy. This shit crazy. Like, how could you work the Island Boys corner, bro? Like, how you do that? Look like he got blood on him too. Oh, Charleston bleeding from the nose. Wow, that's the worst. That's the worster. That's the Island Boy. That's the worst. That's what you mean? I can't tell them little niggas apart. So I don't know. Island Boy, I'm gonna just say this: you lucky you not my weight, cuz. Cause fucking with a nigga like me, I'd starched you. Charleston White, I fuck with him, so I wouldn't even want to do that to him. But you, I would love to beat your ass. Charleston tired though. He need to put that weed down. If he gonna be boxing for real, he gotta put that weed down. He not scared though. Old head got some dog in him. I ain't gonna lie, seeing shit like this make me want to get in shape again, bro. This shit really make me want to get in shape again. Mazuma versus Southpaw hit Aiden Ross up. Man, I offered that nigga 20K, bro. He ain't want Rumble, dog. He won't Rumble for no money, bro, because he know that if he take a loss, his whole account going his whole YouTube gonna go down the drain. He would never fight me. He said Julian Newman bitch was fucking everything up. What happened? Explain. Who is that? I would definitely fight Southpaw though. But that shit dead, bro. Like I don't even care to talk about the nigga. What's going on? Why they keep pausing? You spit his mouthpiece out. Yeah, yeah, y'all gotta put y'all hoes on the leash. You feel me? I had one bitch that was like that and I cut her. When bitches that be acting a fool in public, dog, like y'all bitches be want to be getting treated like women, but they always do non-lady like shit. Be having all this masculine slash toxic energy. Ooh, that was a good fucking shot. Yo, they both circling around each other, bro. Oh, he quit. He quit. The Island boy quit because he was tired. He a hoe. You there to clip me. Anybody could get tired. Let's not get it fucked up. But that'll never be my reason to quit a fight. You just gonna have to clip me. Rolly cool with Aiden. All right, I'm gonna hit Rolly up. But I wanna get in. See, these niggas be fighting on like a week notice and shit. I'm a perfectionist. So like I wouldn't take a fight on a week's notice. I wanna be like as prepared as possible. How old is Charleston? Charleston gotta be late 40s or early 50s. But Charleston White, he got dog in him. So any nigga that got dog is gonna bitch up some pussy ass niggas like he 48. So he only a little bit younger than my mother. So yeah, he just turned 48. So yeah, like any nigga who got dog in him, regardless of age, if you push a bitch, like if a nigga a cold pussy and you got dog and you just pressing him, even if you're not the better fighter than him, he gonna try to look for a way out. That's why he a bitch. You feel me? So I ain't surprised at all. Charleston definitely need to stay away from boxing though. Unless he gonna fight the other island boy. He need to go ahead and beat up the other island boy and call it a night. Charleston was tired like 2 minutes in. 2 minutes in the first round, he set up against the ropes like this, laughing and shit. Crazy. I ain't gonna lie though, like being at this like an Aiden Ross show though, I probably just be on some have fun type shit. I probably wouldn't even try to clip nobody. I try to make it a show. Uncle Ruckus show Island Boys, they really pussy, no cap. And we all knew that though. Hold on.
So, yeah, they got those. So, I'm sure you don't be doing this. You're an old player now. So, how does it feel coming out of retirement and put the paws on young brothers? Oh man, I'm a man. I'm pimping, contact sport. Yeah, I ain't with taking punches and giving punches. I call the police on motherfuckers like no punches. And last but not least, what you got to say to all those motherfuckers that said, can't fight, you just want to pepper spray niggas? How do you feel now? Sign up for the next fight. Fuck you talking about? Come on, man. Come over here. Good fight. Hey, all right, you got in the ring today. That's commendable, man. Just let me know how you feel about the fight, what you feel like went wrong. Man, it was a good fight. I feel like I hit too much 18. I spoke too much speed, and I got stopped. I was going to get out. We stand up. Another fight? Who now? All right. Hey.
It was really like blood rat activities, bro.
What the fuck? He ain't even doing nothing, gang. He's just moving fast. Hey, everybody with a Charleston white shirt, better chill out, my nigga. Everybody with a Charleston white shirt, better chill out. Baby C-Nut. Say, baby C-Nut. Say, baby C-Nut, chill out, nigga. Let them people do their goddamn job, nigga. Say, my nigga, y'all take that shit outside. Say, everybody with a Charleston white shirt on, go outside, my nigga. Everybody with a Charleston white shirt, go on outside, nigga. Everybody with a Charleston white shirt on, go outside, nigga. Say, Dewberry, don't do that shit, my nigga. Don't do that, nigga. Don't do that, nigga. Say, my nigga, don't do that, nigga.
What is going on? He said, don't fuck up with me.
If you got Uncle Charleston White wedding shirt on, report to the bank. Good job, Uncle. Everybody with me, go outside, my nigga. What you doing tonight, Uncle? Fucking with some hoe? That'll be your hug. Fucking with some hoe? Man, go. Ladies, gotta come up out for it tonight, Uncle Warren. Hey, bro. How was that, children?
Anybody got any information on these events though? How often they do these events? This is interesting. I would definitely fight on this, John. Especially if I could. JK said, I called the police on the nigga too. I ain't no street nigga, so I don't believe in that no snitching nonsense. I ain't no street nigga, but I definitely mind my business, bro. 1 to 2 times a month for real? So this nigga Aiden low-key a promoter, huh? Just like not real fighters. It's interesting. Man, I would like to get in phenomenal shape and box on one of them Jones. If I was to get like a date, I'll definitely be up on my 5 a.m. shit. Running, sparring, all that. No doubt. But anybody got any last questions before I get up out of here, man? What we talking about? What's the last thing we talking about? I'm about to go. But I go take the shower and watch some Subriel and Puello fights and shit. That was trash. That was trash, cuz. You should have did something better than that. You should have said something way better than that. That's crazy. And plus, you look like you Indian, so I already know you stink. Like them Pakistanis and all that. You a Pakistani or an Indian dude, I already know your ass stink, cuz. So, you know what I mean? It is what it is. But yeah, that's what I used to do. When I used to train when everybody sleep, bro. We had a 24-hour gym. I used to hit the bag at 2 in the morning. Like I was in a whole different mode. Niggas did not work harder than me, bro. But I'm gonna get up out of here, man. I appreciate everybody that came through and showed love. Y'all can go ahead and hit the like button on the way out. That'll be very much appreciated. This is Mazuma TV. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'll be back at y'all with another live tomorrow, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, to continue talking about what's currently going on in the boxing world. Until then, y'all have a blessed, beautiful night. I'm up out of here, man. Peace.